Hey, what's going on, everybody? Manny here once again. Welcome to DFS Zone. I have a brand new video for you, ladies and gentlemen, like always. But before I get started, I appreciate you guys drop a like. If you're new to the channel, it's your first time here, never ever seen any of my lineup advice videos, the only thing you need to do to be a part of the community and get this content on a consistent basis is to become a subscriber to the channel. So if you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe before you go. Make sure you put on your post notifications. This way you don't miss out on any of my future lineup advice videos. With that being said, today is Thursday, February the 14th, 2019. Happy Valentine's Day to you and yours. Hopefully you have a nice, safe, healthy one with your special someone in your life. All right, to the slate, man. 3-game slate today. It is the last slate for the All-Star break. We're about to go on an All-Star break, so this is the final video until next Thursday. Next Thursday, the NBA resumes, so we'll resume with videos on for that slate starting next Thursday. From here to then, I guess you got NHL, you got NASCAR, you got the Daytona 500 coming on this weekend. So if you're into NASCAR, you could definitely play some NASCAR. I know I'm going to be definitely missing some NBA action as far as playing DFS for the next few days, but I will target myself over the next day or two to look over the Daytona 500 and be able to play a little DFS of NASCAR on Sunday. All right, let's get right to it, man. So today, 3-game slate. Like I said, not a whole lot. As we all know, with 3-game slates, you can play. Everybody's available. Everybody's available to play. Obviously, there are a couple of studs out here today. As you can see, the top dogs are Paul George, Westbrook. You got Anthony Davis. You got Kimba and Vucevic, all over $10,000. And to be honest with you, I think all of them have a viable. They're all in favorable matchups in positions that they can do fairly well. Definitely, firsthand, I do love Paul George today. I mean, he's been on fire. He's been pretty much the best player in the NBA thus far this year to me, other than Harden, as far as how well Harden has played with him carrying the team. But Paul George is just all the way across the board, statistics as well as defense. I mean, he brings it all. So Paul George definitely is playing great basketball. I do believe I will have quite a bit of Paul George today. I'm willing to pay up for him. I'm not too high on anybody else. Westbrook, yes, on some quarter GPPs. I think I could see myself putting him in a few lineups. Same thing with Anthony Davis, not a whole lot. Kimba, I don't think I'm going to be on Kimba. It's probably going to come back and bite me in my freaking butt, but I am willing to bypass that. We know that Kimba plays so well. He's been playing so well as of late, and I know that's all due to the fact that they got Cody Zeller back, and Cody Zeller and him with the pick and roll and all that. They really play really well together, Kimba Walker and him. When they are together on the court. The only thing is that he is on the road, and he plays so much better at home than he does on the road. So with that, and then also knowing that they have beaten up on Orlando, even though Orlando in this game right now, Vegas is considering it to be a close game. So we got to go with that because Vegas is usually pretty good at determining how close games are. But nonetheless, these two teams played earlier in the year and they got pounded. So far they played twice this year. In both games, Charlotte won really big. So I'm a little concerned with that. Vucevic going up against Charlotte. Not interested. Vucevic is not a bad defender. He's not a great defender, but he's going up against a guy that is a pretty decent defender in Zeller. So I don't think Vuce is going to have a big game here. I think he'll get in the 40 range, but maybe not 50, 55, 60 to smash. You actually could go with Zeller in this matchup because Vucevic is not that great of a defender. But that's where I stand, man. I think I do like Paul George the most, and I think a little sprinkle of a little Anthony Davis or Westbrook in some quarter GPPs. I think I'll be interested in that. All right, so let's get right to it, man. My weapon of choice right now as far as narrowing down my research is Draft Dashboard. So if you haven't taken advantage of Draft Dashboard already, again, there'll be a link in the description down below. 30 days for $1. That's what I can offer to you, which is a great deal. And at the same time, you're going to get all these great features that the software brings to you, as well as you'll be able to have access to my watch players list. When you use that link, we'll link up my watch players list on your actual dashboard, and you'll be able to see DFS Zone's watch players list. Right now, there's only 5 on the watch players list. There'll be more by the end of the day. I just decided, because today's only 3-game slate, and I wanted to get the video done really quick, that I'm going to give you 1 player per position, and those are the guys that I'm going to discuss here. And then we're going to just take it. And then if you want to, you'll be able to check in for those who have come aboard. You'll be able to see that players list a little bit more so later. You'll see it maybe at about 15 to 16. There'll be about 15, 16 plays for sure. But right now, the top 5, I'm going to definitely speak about. So, all right, let's go to point guard, man. Point guard, let's just get through it right away. At the top, as you know, there's Russell Westbrook. I already spoke about that. I will have a little bit of him. I don't find him as a core. I do love Dennis Smith Jr. DSJ is definitely in play for me. Even though I'm a Knicks fan, he's been playing really, really well. He's coming in here 7,800. You need 38 on DK. He is 6,500. Need 33 to me value there. He's averaging 26, but since coming over to New York and being healthy and playing, he's playing over 30 minutes a game in New York. And in the last 5 games, 4 out of the 5 games, he's put up 32 fantasy points or better. And I do like the matchup here against Trae Young because Trae Young turns over the ball a ton, and Dennis Smith Jr. is a pretty good defender. I won't say he's a great defender, but he's a decent defender, and he's very good with his feet and with his hands, with his speed, and he definitely gets quite a bit of turnovers. So I do like Dennis Smith Jr. here. I mean, as you can see, the last 3 games, 26 average pretty much for the year, but 25, 32, and 35 in the last game. Obviously, he didn't play a whole lot. The minutes there, 24, 31, and 30 minutes are going to be in that 30-minute range or more for certain. His usage rate has been up since he's coming to New York, 30%, 19 and 28, as you can see there. And he has played Atlanta already earlier this year. In that matchup versus Atlanta early in the year, was when he was with Dallas, he shot 50% in that game and had 33% from 3, only had 1 block and 2 steals, put up 16 points from the floor and 38 fantasy points, okay? And again, I do like the factors. 1, 28% usage rate has been good since coming to New York. He's also taking 15 shots a game and 2 to 3 threes per game as a New York Knick. And also he brings to the table, like I said, he can definitely bring over a little bit of rebounds. He'll get you 3 or 4, some 5 a game. If he really goes and he attacks the boards, he can get you 7 or 8 rebounds, and he is capable also to get you some assists. But the beauty of him is his steals, man. Last 4 games, he's had 10 steals. Last 4 games, 10 steals, folks. And he's going up against a kid in Trae Young that turns over the ball a ton. Trae Young, in his last 4 games, has turned over the ball 17 times. So I see an opportunity here for not only Dennis Smith, for DSJ to not only score, but get some assists and rebounds. And I can also see him get himself at least 3 or 4 steals or more possibly in this game. If it goes all right, he can definitely be a tremendous play here. On the road this year, his splits are way better on the road than they were on away. And we're talking about entirely for the year. That's including when he was with Dallas. 54% field goal percentage from the floor, 36% at home. Okay, that's a big difference. 36% from 3 as opposed to 16% at home. And he's averaging 2 steals per game and pretty much 21 points per game and 33 fantasy points per game on the road thus far this year. And like I said, he already had that 50% shooting game against Atlanta the first time around earlier in the year versus Atlanta when he was with the Dallas Mavericks. Atlanta is coming in here, as you can see, 30th in defending point guards, allowing 35.2 fantasy points per game as of late. They did give up 30 to Bullock, 35 to Augustin, 49 to Kemba Walker, and 44 to Van Fleet. So, I mean, if these guys can put up those kind of numbers, I do believe Dennis Smith Jr., as well as he's been playing, as long as he doesn't get into any foul problems or doesn't get injured here, I do believe he has a shot to get us 35, 40 or more in this matchup today. So we need about 30, again, we need a big number from him. We need about 38, but on DK, you need 33. I think he's very much attainable. Dennis Smith Jr. today. Other than that, like I said, Westbrook is someone you can't consider if you want to pay up. And, of course, you got to consider Allen here in the same matchup for New York, the Kadeem Adam. Allen may be coming in, and, he's been playing well enough. As you can see, 28, 40, and 34 in his last 3 games as far as his fantasy point totals. And the minutes are good too, 23 or better in 3 straight. Usage rate when he's on the court, he is taking advantage of his time in his court, and he's getting some offense done. So, again, those are the guys that you should be targeting. Shooting guard. At shooting guard at the top, you got Drew Holiday. I definitely love Drew Holiday. You cannot pass up Drew Holiday here, man. You can't. He's going to be popular today on a 3-game slate, no doubt about it. This is a very good matchup. It's going to be a competitive game. He's going to have his juices flowing. This is definitely a game that New Orleans wants to play well, and Drew Holiday is going to want to go out and ball out. He's coming in at 9,000, as you can see. You need 45 to meet value on DK. He's 8,400. So he is priced fairly well on DK. 42 is what you need to meet value there. He's averaging 43. He has had the last 2 games, he's been a little bit down. Last two games, as you can see, 38 and 32. So he's below his average of 43, as you can see. But he has 50-point upside, as we know. And he's had 43 plus in 3 out of his last 5 games. So he's had that little rough stretch here, 32 and 38 in the last 2. But prior to that, he had 53. He had 43 or better in those other 3 previous games. The minutes are going to be there. He's going to play 29, 30 minutes or better. He's been averaging 28 plus over the last 3 and 36 plus in the last 2. And the usage rate is always going to be in the high 20s, 23% on average for the year, 29% in the last game. He's taking 15, 16 shots a game, ladies and gentlemen, 3 or 4 threes. He's not burying the threes as well or as consistent as he should, but his 15 or 16 shots a game and the amount of minutes you play, the usage, you cannot pass him up. He also can get you rebounds and some assists, and the beauty of it, he is a pretty good defender. He has had 6 steals over the last 3 games with 2 blocks. So he is playing very, very well right now. His home numbers have been really good as well. 46% field goal percentage from the floor, 32% from 3, averaging 5 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 block, nearly 2 steals per game, 20 points per game, and 44 fantasy points per game. He has played OKC 3 times this year. And in those 3 games, he's averaging 47% field goal percentage, 25%, which is really low as far as 3-point shooting. But he is taking advantage in other areas. He's averaging 12 assists a game, 2 steals a game, 21 points per game from the floor, and 52 fantasy points per game. So overall, he's doing fantastic. OKC, 10th in defending shooting guards and allowing 35.7 fantasy points per game. It is a vulnerable area for them. Over the course of the last 3 or 4 games, they gave up 44 to Harden, 42 to Fournier, and 40 to Smart in the last 3 games alone. So again, Jrue Holiday definitely in play for me. Other than Jrue Holiday, which I didn't check off here. Other than Jrue Holiday, I do love Jeremy Lamb. You can't pass up on Lamb either. So if you're not willing to pay $9,000 for Jrue Holiday, then you go after you tap in there. Jeremy Lamb at 6,600. You need pretty much 33. He is 5,700 on DK. You need 27. He's averaging 28. He's had 28 or better in 4 out of his last 5 games with at least 155 spot, which is right here, 55, 56 spot here. The minutes are there, man. His minutes have been up. His usage has been good as well. Okay. My only concern, like I said earlier in the start of the video, is that they blew out Orlando in their first 2 matchups this year. 125-100 in one score in one game, and the other game 120-88. And Vegas does have this game fairly close. They only have Orlando favored by 1 and a 214-215 implied total. So again, this is not a bad game to target as a stack. You probably could get 4 or 5 plays out of it for sure with the price tags on the players. So Jeremy Lamb is definitely someone you must consider. I mean, again, if you're not on Holiday, I think Jeremy Lamb is definitely someone you can consider. Orlando is 16th in defending shooting guards. They're allowing only 27.7 fantasy points per game as of late. They did give up 25 to Etuan Moore in the last game. Kevin Huerter put up 24. So those are the two guys that they have faced in the last 2 games. Other than that, there will be some other plays here on the watch players list. I just want to be able to get through them. So those are the 2 that I kind of really like the most. At small forward, no doubt about it. I already said it when I started the video that I am all over Paul George. Paul George in play for me, man. 12,500 as you can see here. You need 62 to me value on FanDuel. On DK, he is $1,800 cheaper at 10,700. He is a lock on DK for me today. So he only needs 53 there, and this guy's averaging 60 or better pretty much over the last several games. You definitely got to consider him in your lineup. He's going to be obviously highly owned. As far as the stud players, I think he's probably going to be one of the ones that's going to be really, really popular today. Paul George, definitely in play for me. 50 plus in 12 out of his last 14 games, and 9 out of his last 10 games he's had 50 or better. So he's been solid. He's good, consistent for 50, 55. That price tag on DK needing only 53, he'll be definitely a good cash play there. He's consistent enough to get it, but he also have that upside to get you 60, 70, possibly even 80. So Paul George is someone you must consider as well on DK. 31 points per game on 9 out of his last 11 games. We're talking about floor points here. 31 a game in 9 out of his last 11 games, playing 36 plus minutes. He has had 7 straight games where he has at least taken 22 to 23 shots from the floor and 13 to 14 threes. This guy is shooting machine. 10 to 12 free throws on average per game over the course of that same stretch. I mean, he fills up the stat sheet. We know we're going to get rebounds, not a whole lot, but we're going to get rebounds. We're going to get some assists from him. And then, of course, defensively, he's one of the best defenders in the NBA. He'll get you steals, and he'll get you the occasional block. There's no doubt this guy should be in your lineup. I mean, away from home this year, 45% field goal percentage, 38% from three, 84% free throw percentage. He's averaging 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 2.5 steals, 30 points per game from the floor, and 52 fantasy points. He has played against New Orleans 3 times this year, and in those games he's averaging 44% field goal percentage, 48% from 3. They haven't been able to not. He has been tearing them up with the 3-point shot. 9 rebounds a game, 7 assists per game, 2.5 steals, 24 floor points, and 53 fantasy points. I think he's good for 53 or better today. You need, on DK, you need 62. I think he's going to get 62 today. And I definitely, on FanDuel, you need 62. On DK, you only need 53. He'll smash the 53 on DK. Paul George, definitely in play. He's my favorite play there. And, of course, you got some other guys that I will be having some consideration. You got to consider Jonathan Isaac. He's been playing very well as of late. You want to pay down. I definitely think to someone who's getting quite a bit of minutes for the Knicks, like Kevin Knox, could be someone to consider. You can even consider Mr. Prince in that same matchup against New York. I mean, it goes on and on. Follow along. The player watch list will be a lot more bigger by later on today. Power forward at the top. I am all over Julius Randle, man. It's just that's my guy. As you can see, I have him highlighted already. 7,300 for Julius Randle. You need 36 from him to meet value. On DK, 7,200. Same scenario. You need about 36. He is averaging 36, so he's priced just right. And we know he has 50-point upside. He has 33 plus in 3 out of his last 4 games. Okay, so you can see that here, 32, 33, and 29. The minutes are there, 29 average. He's averaging 30 2 games ago. He's came back from being away for a while. I do believe he's still going to get 29 to 30 minutes. If he gets more than 30 minutes, he's definitely going to smash even better. What I like also about this matchup with Julius Randle is that he's not going to have to deal with Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant is out. So it's all about, and I could see him being in this game quite a bit, simply just to be that power force up front. Steven Adams is a physical guy. I know Okafor has been playing, but again, you got to consider Randle is going to be on the court as well. I think he'll get 29 or more minutes here today, and I think he's going to get more than 1 fantasy point per minute. I mean, 27% usage rate is perfect. He's getting more than enough time to utilize on the court to get his usage rate to the point where he's going to be able to put up some huge numbers. His numbers as far as at home: 54% field goal percentage, 32% from 3, averaging 10 rebounds a game, nearly 1 block a game, and 1 steal a game on average. 19 points per game, 39 fantasy points per game, slightly above his average. Versus OKC, 2 games this year, he's shooting 73% from the floor, 50% from 3, not taking a whole ton of shots, but he's averaging 10 rebounds, 1.5 blocks, 24 points from the floor, and 44 fantasy points. And 44 fantasy points is above his average, which will be exactly what we need him to do today. I think he's definitely a good cash play today if he gets the 29, 30 minutes. And I think he has the ability to get us 50 in the game like this today. Very, very competitive game. And he could get us 50 and smash value. He'll be a good GPP play for me as well. OKC, 10th in defending power forwards, allowing 31.4 fantasy points per game over the course of the last 3 or 4 games. Aminu put up 27, Jaren Jackson put up 36, and Aaron Gordon put up 44. Those are the last 3 opponents for the Oklahoma City Thunder. All right. Other than that, there are some guys that I am considering. I think Aaron Gordon is someone you got to at least consider. Birch, coming off the bench for Orlando, is someone you can consider as well. Obviously, there will be a little sprinkle from me as far as Anthony Davis is concerned. I do, even though these numbers look pretty rough here for Marvin Williams. Marvin Williams will not be a bad player, 5,700, needing 26, 27. And then you come down to the Knickerbockers, it's going to be tough to gauge on Vonleh or Cornette. I would probably just bypass those guys. But I think some really sleeper plays are guys like Spellman and Patrick Patterson. Obviously, with Jeremy Grant out, I mean, Patrick Patterson is going to get some time. I think he played what? He played 20. Yeah, he played up 23 minutes in his last game. Didn't put up huge numbers, but he's someone there that you can put there as that punt play, that drop spot play there at 3,500. Same thing with Spillman at 3,700. And maybe even Diallo. Diallo can possibly be an option at 3,800. He played 13 minutes in the last game. Maybe not so much Diallo, but I would think definitely could be a possibility depending on this game against New York, on how it's unfolding. Maybe Spellman might get more than 13 minutes this time around as opposed to 2 games ago. He got 26 minutes. Patrick Patterson, I definitely do believe PP will get some time on the floor today. So he could be a nice little punt play there for you guys. All right. At center, like I already told you, Vucevic could be someone you can go to. I just don't think he's going to get over 50. Dealing with Zeller. Zeller is a pretty decent defender. I think Zeller is a better defender than Vucevic. So that is going to be a tough matchup. I would not have no problem with going with Zeller to save money. I think I'm going to pay down at center today. I do like Dedmon, Mitchell Robinson, and Zeller. I do like all 3 of those guys. So any one of those 3, I think that you'll be good to go. All right, Dedmon going up against New York. Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench, spelling relief for DeAndre Jordan at 5,400. Do like going with my boy from New York here, Mitchell Robinson. He has had 5 straight games. Now, granted, he's coming in from a back-to-back. He's on a back-to-back. So, again, he only played 28 minutes last night, 23 the game before that. The minutes are slowly but surely creeping up. I do like that. Look at the numbers, 32, 30, and 49. He is a great point-per-minute player. Same thing with Dedmon. I've told you guys about Dedmon that the same way. He just doesn't get sufficient enough minutes. He is pretty much at 25 on average and 24, 24, 27 over the last 3. So these 2 guys are pretty much balanced out, and they will see some time against each other today. But I will go with Mitchell Robinson. He's on the up and up with the team. He's going to probably get maybe a few more minutes more. And he has put up some nice numbers in that short amount of time that he's on the court. So Mitchell Robinson, again, 5 straight games at 29+. His last game, he put up a 49. As you can see here, he's playing 22+ minutes in his last 4 to 5 games. And he's had 2 double-doubles during the course of that time. Like I said, good fantasy point per minute player. As we all know, Dedmon is the same. Last game against Atlanta, he put up was back on November the 7th. He put up 20 fantasy points in 15 minutes. So more than 1 fantasy point per minute coming off the bench and only playing 20 minutes. And right now he's pretty much averaging more in the range of 28, possibly even going up to as high as 30, maybe even going into tonight, because they're slowly but surely trying to see if this kid is someone that they can consider for the future. So Mitchell Robinson definitely in play for me. His away splits, 66% field goal percentage and 6 points per game with 17 fantasy points per game. Numbers are not that good because the kid has been coming off the bench, playing sporadically. He hasn't been consistent. It's now is where we're gauging him, but he's been playing more consistently as of now. So I'm going to go with those factors. Versus Atlanta, Atlanta is 18th in defending centers, and they're allowing 29.6, nearly 30 fantasy points per game. They just recently gave up 40 to Vucevic. Again, that was a very low scoring fantasy point total for Vucevic. Zeller put up 30. That's over the course of the last 2 games. And like I said, if you're not on Robinson, you got to consider Dedmon. New York is really, really struggling as far as in the center spot. I will have easily maybe half of my lineups with Dedmon as well, just to save the money and be able to move on and get guys like George and maybe Drew Holiday in my lineup. So Dedmon, 5,500, you need about 25, you need about 26, 27, and he's going up against New York. They're 24th in defending centers and allowing 39.2, the highest in this slate here. So that's one of the reasons why you should have a little exposure to Dedmon or either Alex Lynn. I mean, Lynn is not playing significant enough minutes for me to put him in the lineup. I would go with definitely DD. And again, if not, you go with Mr. Robinson. If you're not going to do Robinson, I think Cody Zeller, even though the numbers here, good defense overall by Orlando. They have had Orlando's number so far this year, so we'll see. Cody Zeller is a pretty decent defender. If he can get get his minutes to be in that 30-32 minute range, he can possibly get you 30 fantasy points. So I do like Zeller here in the matchup against Orlando. Orlando is 8th in defending centers and allowing only 28.7 fantasy points per game. So if you're going to go by statistics as far as fantasy point totals, the best bet is Dwayne Dedmon. And then other than that, I would think it'll be Mitchell Robinson with Zeller third. But those are the guys I'm looking at. And that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. Again, right now, watch players list is 5 or 6 players. Like I said, I wanted to just share one player per position that I really, truly, really like, that I will have exposure to. Now I'm going to basically, if you are following along here on Draft Dashboard, you're going to see the rest of those guys that I am looking at to make lineups from for today's slate by the end of the day. All right. So again, I wish you guys a lot of luck. Again, happy Valentine's Day. I appreciate all of you that have become subscribers to the channel, have given me such kind words, always asking me questions. There's a lot of you that are regulars that always are commenting on the videos, asking questions, and reaching out to me on Twitter and so on and so forth. Again, the Twitter information is now finally on the screen here, so I decided to change the border a little bit here and get that information out to you. So both of my handles that you can reach me at and be able to follow along. Definitely make sure that you make that notation. Other than that, man, that's basically it, man. I'll see you guys next Thursday. Enjoy the rest of the week off. Enjoy the All-Star game, all the All-Star game festivity, all the slam dunk, all that action. And then, of course, if you are a NASCAR fan, enjoy the Daytona 500 on Sunday. And I'll see you guys next Thursday.